Here.
Councilman Hughes.
Here.
Councilman Santino.
Here.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Here.
Let the record reflect that the town clerk is delivering a copy of the tentative budget to each town board. Okay, Madam Clerk, first public hearing, please.
Proposed local law regarding school speed limits in Louisville.
Okay, is there anyone who would like to speak on this item on the public hearing calendar? There being no one, I will ask for a motion.
I believe that we close the public hearing, we close the proposed public hearing, and I move to adopt it. The reason I'm hesitating because we have had many residents from the Roosevelt community requesting that this be done because of the traffic on the street, East Pleasant Street, and near the high school, and I don't see them here. But I just want to make sure that we're talking to them about it, and they're recording. I just want to make sure that they're aware that this is happening today. So on that connection, if someone is here to speak about it, I move that we close the proposed local law and make it a public hearing, that will be adopted.
Is there a second?
Second.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Boothby.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next public hearing, please.
Proposed handicap parking on public streets in Franklin Square, Merritt, North Belmore, and Oceanside.
Is there anyone who would like to speak on this public hearing? There being none, I'll ask for a motion, please.
I move that the hearing be closed and the item adopted.
Second.
Councilman Ambrosino. Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Boothby.
Aye.
Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Next public hearing, please.
Application of DACA Associates LLC for modification of Declaration of Receipt of Covenants dated October 26, 2009 in Baldwin.
Morning. Kevin Walsh from Walsh Markets, including Develis, presenting the case with Laura Schaefer from my office. This is an application for a request for a price increase related to property being developed in Baldwin. May I submit, I only have one or two submissions, but a summary of the costs, which will, I think, explain better in our petition what the rather than the same result, will explain better what the exact breakdown of costs, much more specific than the petition. And I will be commenting on it. I have witnesses here. I'll be commenting on what the testimony will be, and then the board can call witnesses as needed for questions.
Good.
I'm here today with John Martino, who is the principal of DECA Associates, the applicant. Mr. Martino is sitting behind me. I'm also here with Robert Bennett from Ravico Engineering. He is the engineer for the project. And I also have Alan DeBlock, who is a real estate broker from the area. He is the broker who will be marketing the units. He can answer any questions the board has about pricing in the area, where the proposed price would be in connection with the market. This application concerns 2870 Grand Avenue. It's Section 54, Block U, Lot 40, the Nassau County Tax Map. The property was approved in 2004 by this board to be rezoned from residence B to Golden Age zone. At that point in time, as part of the resolution of this board, the prices that Mr. Martino would sell their units for was $189,000. In 2009, we made a request. They were not built at the time, and the property was not developed. In 2009, Mr. Martino approached me and asked he'd like to develop this property. He asked could we get a price increase. We made an application to this board. In 2009, by resolution number 1334, 2009, this board granted him the right to increase the pricing to $220,000 per unit. In 2009, at that point in time, we're all familiar with the market basically changed greatly as it related to real estate. There was no market. He had no ability to develop. There was no market for purchases, and the project went on hold. Mr. Martino is a small, I say small not in a negative way, but he is small in terms of the fact that he builds project to project. He does not expend money that lay out there, and hopefully the market will catch up. So the project went on hold until 2013. He began constructing in 2013. If you know the site, I know you do, you'll know it's almost completed, but for site improvements, it's 25 units. In the middle of construction, or when we started construction, he realized his pricing was inadequate to cover his costs, and he made a request. We submitted in November of 2014 a request the board consider allowing this request for a price increase to $258,000. The summary that you have in front of you is really a breakdown of the items in the petition. There are three components. There are three components to the request. The first component is related to the 2012 storm, Sandy storm that we had, and the elevation of this property is on the South Shore in Walton. The elevation of this property had to increase significantly. As part of that packet, there is a letter from AK Associates, the land surveyors, indicating that in 2009, or after the original analysis for this project, the flood map changed, and he had to raise the site based on the elevation of 2 feet. In addition to that, there was an additional change of an elevation of 1.1 feet based on the surveyor's requirements. So the surveyor, as part of this, advised him he had to really raise the site, or the foundations, the retaining walls, a total of about 3 feet. I have some photographs, which I'll introduce at the end, indicating the retaining wall, how high it became, the amount of fill that was necessary to put in to complete the project, and basically all is an increased cost. So the breakdown, the first component is this item. It indicates that there was $249,000 in concrete, labor, rebar associated with this. An additional $44,850,000 of fill that was necessary as a result of this. There is backup documentation in the packet for each of these items. I do have Mr. Bennett able to testify as to any questions you might have about the items that you would be looking at. In addition to that, there was since 2009, Mr. Martino would like to add to this, the carrying cost associated with real estate taxes only. He carried an additional 6 years or so of real estate taxes, and that amount is $77,267. He's not asking for any increase in carrying charges other than the actual outlay of real estate taxes. I have included a backup for what those taxes were. The third component is a general construction cost component increase over the period 2009 to 2013. Mr. Bennett's data, which is attached, shows that the cost associated with the increases over that period of time was 2.2% per year. I only took it to 2013. I added 1%, a request for 1% for 2014 and 2015 for a total increased cost. The summary of cost shows that we're requesting that the units be increased in price for $38,604 for a total of $258 is our petition, and that's what the numbers come out to be. Mr. DeBlatt is here to testify to two things. One is that a price of $258,000 will not be a price that's inconsistent with Golden Age units in the area, and also that that price is lower than market units would be, similar market units if they were sold in the market basis as opposed to Golden Age. And as I said, every witness, the witnesses are here ready to be sworn in if the board requests.
That's your presentation, Mr. Walsh?
That is.
Okay. Are there any questions from any members of the board? Okay. There being none, very thorough presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. Walsh.
May I just mark the photographs for your record?
Please give them to the town clerk, please. Thank you very much, Mr. Walsh. May I have a motion, please?
Move it, reserve judgment.
Is there anyone from the audience, anyone from the audience who wishes to speak on this public hearing? Anyone at all on the Baldwin application who would like to speak? There being none, then I will accept the motion. We have a motion been made in second.
Councilman Mendocino. Councilman Lakeman. Councilman Boosley. Councilman Hughes. Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Aye.
Thank you very much. We've reserved the decision. Thank you very
By the
much.
way, Mr. Walsh, you did an outstanding job yesterday as the moderator of the Garden City Chamber of Commerce.
I thought the supervisor might be here to ask me questions today. Thank you very much.
Now, listen, if the legal thing doesn't work out, you can go on the road with the presidential candidate.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Me too.
Okay. The administrative calendar.
On the administrative calendar, I have items 1 through 29. I also have a resolution that is of an urgent nature to be added to the calendar. The resolution is as follows. Resolution calling a public hearing on a local law to enact a new chapter 3 of the Code of the Town of Hempstead to be entitled Apprenticeship Training Programs for Town Contracts. This will be item 30 on the administrative calendar.
Do any of the council members wish to settle any item on the administrative calendar? If not, can I have a motion, please?
I move that the administrative calendar be removed in its entirety.
Okay, item 1 to 30, okay.
Second.
Janine Maynard. Janine Maynard. I'm in Maynard. Would you say your name and address for the record?
Janine Maynard, 255 Perry Street, Hempstead, New York, 11550. My comment is on item 3, resolution to adopt the changing of the name to the Uniondale Fire Protection District. I support that resolution, and I wanted to thank everyone for the continued follow-through on the earlier commitment to make Uniondale whole and to adjust the items that were confusing about our identity in the eyes of the public. And so I thank you very much, and we are happy with the wording of this resolution.
Thank you very much, Ms. Maynard. Marie and Ernest Cantonese. Would you like to speak, Mrs. Cantonese? No? Okay. Mr. Mervyn Campbell?
Yes.
Would you like to speak?
Yes. Mervyn Campbell, MERVYN AMPEDLM, Fire Commissioner, Uniondale Fire District. Today, it's a great day for Uniondale. We fought for, I dealt with it for about over 20 years, and we want to thank you for seeing the way that we asked you to. And we just hope that the businesses in our area will respect whatever is done today, so these addresses can be changed to be Uniondale. We are very proud of Uniondale, and we are happy. And today is a special day in Union. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you very much. Martha and, I'm sorry, I can't, Barron?
Brady.
Brady. Welcome, Ms. Brady.
Martha Ann Brady, 517 Myers Court, Uniondale.
Yes.
I've been a resident of Uniondale for 67 years. I was brought up there. My father was a firefighter for Uniondale for 29 years, and I have been in the Ladies Auxiliary for over 55 years. This is a great day for Uniondale that we are kept whole. We're not north, south, east, or west. We're not East Garden City. We are Uniondale. We have been so for all of these years. The pieces have gotten separated. I have just one question for the board. On the budget that you were just handed, will it be identified as the Uniondale Fire Department Protection District?
I believe that change has been made, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for your concern for us. We appreciate it.
Pleasure, Ms. Brady. Thank you for coming in. Okay. Mr. Procaci, on the administrative now.
Did we finish with number 3?
Yeah,
Okay. I'd like to, I would like, on number 3, and I'd just like to speak on behalf of this petition because I'm very proud that the Uniondale community is happy. And I certainly want to give credit to all of you for all that you've done, and especially to people who are sitting in the audience who have kept all of the records throughout the years. So it's wonderful to know that there are people who truly care, and I know that you care about your community. So thank you for helping us to get this done.
thank you, Councilman. Mr. Procaci.
Felix Procacci, 1165 Pond Street, Franklin Square, New York. First, on that urgent item, can someone please elaborate on what that is and why it became an urgent item? You know, and wasn't just put on the calendar at a time.
Mr. Tenafetti, would you give Mr. Procaci a brief synopsis of what we're doing?
Certainly, Councilman. We are strengthening our apprenticeship regulations for town contracts. We're changing what we have. Nassau County recently adopted a new law. There are some things in that law that we want to adopt, and because Nassau County's law went into effect in June, although we just found out about it, but it went into effect in June, we wanted to get this on the calendar for a November 10th hearing. And this being the last town board before that, we had to put that on so we could have the hearing on November 10th.
Okay, so this is a requirement for town workers, or?
It's a requirement for those businesses who are going to bid or want to have town construction contracts to have apprenticeship programs. We already have a law on the books for that, but we're going to strengthen it. So that we will be in line, so we need to be in line with Nassau County.
How is it going to be? What's the difference between current?
Well,
That'll be subject to the public hearing.
We have the public hearing on November 10th. We put it on so we could get it out so the public is aware of it and they can come. That's when it really will be discussed.
All we're doing here today is calling the public hearing.
Okay. Now, I remember that a pump and tank contractor one time came here and he was suing the town because he didn't get a contract. The contract was taken away from him after he won the contract, and the reason was given that he didn't have an apprentice program in his company, and they argue, there was some sort of argument here as to whether the law covered his business or not. Does that have anything to do with why this law was being proposed?
Mr. Procaci, we're just calling a public hearing. It has nothing to do with any particular case or incident or item. We're calling a public hearing about an overall law in terms of the requirement for an apprenticeship program for those who are bidding on town contracts.
Sure, but when you do call hearings, you do it on the basis of some reasoning. So it's not like
It's
an abstraction, you just decide to call a hearing
It's
today.
not based on any particular incident or any particular case.
Just asking.
That's the answer.
Thank you so much. On the East Garden, item number 3, the East Garden City Fire District, Protection District change, name change. Nothing else, am I correct if I say nothing else is going to change the Westbury Fire Department, I believe it is? It's still going to cover that district?
They have a contract, I believe it's to the end of December 31st, 2016. Of course, over the years, any fire department could bid on this, and Westbury Fire Department has always bid on it. Uniondale has never bid on it, but the contract remains in effect.
Okay, so anyone could get that contract if they'd like, if they're qualified, of course. Item number 6, I meant to talk about this a few years ago, I kept on overlooking it. We discontinued the February evening meeting. I forgot, we started in 2013, if I remember correctly. So there's only really 4 evening meetings during the year, and I asked the board right now, before you vote on it, that it doesn't have to be in February. February is a cold month in general. If they could add back that evening meeting, so at least we have 5 evening meetings in the entire year out of the 21 meetings that we do have, just to give the opportunity to some residents who work during the day who can't attend, you know. I'm just asking if anyone would propose changing it, you know, since you're going to vote on it in a few minutes.
Thank you for your opinion.
Okay, I guess you.
Going back, Mr. Town Attorney, one of them has to come back.
What was that? I didn't hear you.
I'm talking to him, not you.
Oh, okay. I thought it was part of the discussion.
Not yours, mine.
Okay. Okay, item number 23, again, various offices and positions, occupations in the town government. Again, I checked the website. We continue not to advertise at all in any way, shape, or form for non-tested positions. This is unfair to residents to say that they know to look at the website, because I have, 24 mailings I received so far in the first 9 months of this year, and we don't assume that they could look at the website and get all the information that's in these mailings, but we choose to send them out because somebody here finds it important to do that and to spend millions of dollars on staff and postage and paper, which is environmentally unfriendly, but we don't find it in our hearts to offer the opportunity to all residents of the town of Hempstead. I'm glad you find that funny, Councilman Gooseby. You don't offer it to all residents. Yes, I did.
Well, don't.
Okay, I won't call your name. But we don't offer any opportunity to residents in general to apply for these non-tested positions, and it's generally unfair, it's un-American. I'm supposed to speak on different hearings, so I wish that would stop. Okay. Item number 24, which is the budget hearing. I have a few questions regarding that. How much in reserves is being used in this budget?
Mr. Conway, you want to address that? I mean, we're not, what we're doing here, that's an appropriate comment for the budget hearing itself. All we're doing here is calling for public hearing for the budget. So let me suggest specific questions about the budget be asked at the budget hearing.
But that doesn't...
The item on the agenda is calling the public hearing for the budget. Specific questions about the budget are appropriate at the budget hearing.
So what what you said, then essentially the only thing I would I could argue about is whether the date of the hearing is appropriate. Is that
The only item on the calendar right now is the calling of the public hearing for the budget hearing.
Well, for the last 5 years, I've spoken on the budget items in it because we understand that if there's any issues with the preliminary budget, they should be aired out at a public hearing prior to the budget hearing because at the time of the hearing, it's already been decided and the public has no way to
answer. We're on the administrative calendar. The item is to call the public hearing for the budget. If you have an item if you have a question about that meeting, the date, the time, circumstances of that meeting, that's in order. That's the answer, Mr. McCarthy.
At this brief, it says adopting tentative budget. Adopting tentative budget. So
I've answered your question.
I want to talk on tentative budget.
That's at the budget hearing.
No, that's not at the budget. There's not going to be a tentative budget at the budget hearing. There's going to be a preliminary budget hearing.
Mr. Procacci, the budget hearing for October the 7th is on the preliminary budget and whether or not the preliminary budget should be adopted as the final budget.
Well, today,
That's what the public hearing is for, on the preliminary budget.
what's on the hearing today is to discuss the tentative budget.
What's on the calendar today is a resolution adopting the tentative budget as a preliminary budget and calling a public hearing on the preliminary budget.
That precludes me from speaking at all about the tentative budget. Is that your official position, that I can't speak on the tentative budget because it has nothing to do with the preliminary budget that's going to be voted on next week?
Our public hearing on the budget is for next week. That's when these.
I want to talk about the tentative budget.
That's when these questions are appropriate.
No, it's not appropriate then, because you want to just railroad this whole situation into one day. You railroad it into two.
Mr. Procacci, you had the answer from the town attorney. That's the board position. That's the board's position. Do you have any other items on the administrative?
How many reserves are being used in the tentative budget?
Do you have any other items on the administrative calendar?
How much reserves is being used?
Call the roll administrative calendar, please.
Councilman Eversino. Councilman Blakeman.
Anyone on a specific, there was no sign in, I'm sorry, on a item on the administrative calendar.
Mary Ellen Craig, 436 Locust Avenue. On item 6542, number 8,
Number 8.
calling and declaring an emergency. I'd like to know what that entails.
Do you have a specific community, which one specifically? Uniondale. Mr. Rockcamp, Commissioner, please. Yeah.
Good morning, Councilman, members of the town board.
We're talking about 6 places in Uniondale, 6 properties in Uniondale. Would you please enlighten our resident about that?
Absolutely, Councilman. 642.
please.
Sure, please sit down.
There are six separate locations in Uniondale that we bought about. The first was 643 Southern Parkway. That was for an open and abandoned one-family dwelling and attached garage. 68 Cunningham Avenue for open and abandoned one-family dwelling and detached garage. 1352 Commodore Road, open and abandoned one-family dwelling. 1002 Arthur Street, open and abandoned one-family dwelling. 476 Decanter, open and abandoned one-family dwelling. And 64 Argyle Avenue, ratifying and confirming open and abandoned one-family dwelling.
Thank you. Now, what does declaring an emergency, that means report about?
That's correct. That was unsafe.
Thank you very much. I didn't know designation.
Thank you.
I thought maybe you were going to raise it.
Thanks.
Excuse me.
Okay, anyone else on the administrative calendar?
Email us,
Call the roll, Madam Clerk.
whatever you just came over.
Councilman Eversino.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman. Councilman Boosby. Councilman Hughes. Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Have a motion, please.
Councilman Councilman Ambrosino. Councilman Blakeman. Councilman Boothby. Councilman Hughes. Councilman Santino.
Aye.
Councilman King Sweeney.
Okay. Now, as indicated earlier, the board will remain to listen to residents on miscellaneous concerns. Mary Ellen Craig, you want to come back? Do you have something else?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So I know that a number of items are going to be coming up before the Board of Zoning Appeals about the Coliseum area and various things related to it, asking for, as I said before, waivers for various items. And I'm asking Councilwoman Boothby to please help us be aware of these things as they come up, and the other members of the board, so that we do not get blindsided by them. Because it's very easy to miss something like that, and it's extremely important to our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Diane Mann.
Good morning. I have a request actually from town board. It's very concerning because as I've been here many times, making you aware that since Michael Pistori took over the animal shelter, he has implemented many policies and procedures that actually put volunteers at a further distance from helping the animals, including now prohibiting them from the back where the most urgent animals are. And he also changed the policy where the volunteers at some point, I find it very interesting not to have everyone's attention. Because particularly with the animal shelter, Councilwoman Sweeney, I'm hopeful to find out what your intention is to get involved and fix some of these problems. But in any case, the volunteers were given the courtesy at one point to know which dogs, and unfortunately not often the cats, were being euthanized, and it gave them an opportunity to outreach with these animals and get rescue and foster homes and homes for them. That is no longer the case. So in shelters that operate like that, they even make up their minds. They're either transparent and they recognize that they don't have the ability or won't implement the policies that give them the ability to save all animals, or they can consider themselves a shelter that doesn't kill animals. You can't be both. So what I'm asking for is some kind of list that can be provided to volunteers that have approached us willing to start a page on these animals before they're euthanized, because they're not aware of them now. In New York City it's done in many shelters, and it's done successfully.
Somebody will take a look at it. We'll take a look at that.
Okay, and I just have to ask you, in the event, Councilman, if you are elected, what, if anything, are you going to do differently about the animal shelter?
Well,
Address them?
I'll address that should I be fortunate enough to be elected on November 3rd.
So you have no plans as of now?
This is not the forum for that. Should I be elected on November 3rd, I'd be more than happy to have a long discussion with you.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Okay. I only have one slip left. Did anybody not sign in who wants to address the board? Okay, then Mr. Felix Bocaccio.
Treating me differently is a violation of my civil rights, which is a big problem in this town. We spend millions of dollars on cases because we violate the civil rights of many businesses and residents. The fact that I couldn't speak on the tentative budget, and the fact that my representative there didn't stand up for me, and this is done all the time, you're a criminal, you're all guilty, you all have no guts, you have no courage. I'm here I'm not going to get questioned on the tentative budget, so I'll put those aside. We're passing a pet store law. The pet store law that we're trying to pass is, first of all, unconstitutional. It violates the civil rights of the owners of pet stores. It's very clear. What I'm asking for, just like we're going to be changing the definition of place of public assembly, just like we want pet store owners to be accountable for the pets they sell, I think you guys up there who don't want to be accountable, there should be legislation that makes you accountable. The ethics law that's currently on the books has no statute that states how long the ethics board has to respond to a complaint. I've been sitting on a complaint for 4 months. Joe Ra, I met him in Rite Aid store 4 weeks ago. He told me they came to a conclusion in 4 weeks. I haven't gotten anything from the ethics board, not even an acknowledgement that they received the complaint. And when I spoke with Charles Hine, he told me no decision has been made with the board. So our town attorney says there was a decision, and the ethics board member says there wasn't a decision. And all you guys, because you're going to say nothing, think that's okay. I propose some simple changes. First of all, when someone files a complaint against a public official, a town employee, acknowledgement of receipt of that complaint should be within 5 business days, just like it is with a FOIA request, and a case number be assigned to that complaint. From that point on, the ethics board shall have 60 days to render a decision. If they need more time, which is sometimes reasonable, they must put in writing why they need more time and the estimated amount of time they need, the reason for the more time. So they're held accountable for what they want, what their decision is going to be. If they still can't reach it within that extended period, they must continue to put in writing, and I guess I could do this indefinitely, I'm not going to put a limit on them, but they must explain their decisions, their reasons for extending the time for making a decision on this complaint. If the ethics board fails to follow these rules, they should be guilty of a violation, which under current law is a year in jail and a $250,000 fine, or up to a year in jail and up to a $250,000 fine. They should be held accountable just like you want the pet store owners to be held accountable when they do something wrong. The problem is you don't want to be held accountable for anything, none of you. And that's why I'm proposing this, and this is why you should pass this. You should go back into session and pass this law right now. You should call a public hearing to talk about this at the next town board meeting, because it's very important that town officials be held accountable, that town employees be held accountable, not just pet store owners. This law was so botched, the fact that you spent a year on it is disgraceful. I can see if you rushed it through in 3 days, 1 year, and you came up with this crap, I mean, it's disgusting. Thank you very much.